Honorable Ambassador Kamara, members of the Psalm 28 movement, students, body, fellow Sierra Leoneans, good afternoon. I say good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. It's such a great honor to be among you all today. After so much effort since 2024, to be among you, students of this great institution, to deliver or be part of a public lecture session. It was a great effort, and I do appreciate the enthusiasm of your student leadership to persuade me to be here today. And I'm very happy, and I wish I had done it before now. Thank you so much for your effort. Today, I know you're all busy heading to go back to your corners of studies and be able to do your best, as I wish you all the best in your studies to excel in the forthcoming exams. Once a student at tertiary level, I know what it demands at this critical time to spend your time to listen outside of your school curriculum. I'm very happy to be here to give a short talk on a very important topic, that is the role of political leaders in combating tribalism and regionalism to enhance national cohesion. Sometimes you look at the title and say, wow, what a topic, because it's in place with what this institution is presently working on for an international organization, putting in a document together in terms of peace and tribalism, how it can be resolved in our country. When we look at this whole topic, let us look at the aspect of tribalism and regionalism and the responsibility on we, political leaders, in solving these great menace in our society. Tribalism, in its definition, it is the practice of being loyal to a tribe or group, be it political or organization. It can be based on the issue of race, nationalism, or political belief. But I want to ask a question this afternoon. We have seen our country being polarized by political division, ethnic divide, to which you as students and Sierra Leoneans should speak the truth to me this afternoon. In a common way, let me ask a question. And to that, I want you to raise your hands. How many of us here in this hall that have decided to cut off somebody or off the internet or your social media group because you don't belong to the same ethnic group or political group? Raise your hands. No. That's not true. That's not true. I believe for some obvious reason, we might have decided that because me and Mr. A or Miss C don't belong to the same political party, or we don't hail from the same ethnic group, we cannot communicate on issues that can affect your belief. And tribalism in itself in political science can be misplaced sometimes. The word tribalism goes beyond ethnic group, ethnicity. In tribalism, you can belong to several groups at the same time. Because your belief, the philosophy you believe in terms of political affiliation, organizations you belong to, so you can belong because of tribalism to various groups. The anthropologists will tell you about it. And they know exactly what we are talking about here. In defining all of this, we have to be assured of what we are looking at our local level. Today, like I mentioned earlier, our nation has been polarized because of ethnic divide. Our nation has been polarized because of regionalism. And we have the responsibility as Sierra Leoneans to look at the bigger picture, putting nation above self, put aside those pettiness of tribalism, of ethnicity, of regionalism, and looking at the bigger picture. Because when you leave Sierra Leone, they're not going to ask you, what's your tribe? They're going to ask about your nationality because you carry a Sierra Leonean passport. So when we look at the ugly head of tribalism, in our workplaces, in schools, in academic institutions, we have a responsibility to make sure that we are all Sierra Leoneans first. So that whatever we are doing is based on merits, is based on ability to be awarded whatever it takes. What do I mean? If it's a case of scholarship, it's a case of employment, we should not be looking at which tribe you belong to. We should not be looking at which region you come from. We should look at the merits of the person. We should look at the ability of the person, not a round peg in a square hole. Because what it takes away from us, for instance, you the students, for the efforts you are making to excel, and then you come out of school and try to seek employment, because you are from one particular region of Sierra Leone, you cannot be offered a job. Or because your name does not synonymous to the other region. And when we look at all of this, it is frustrating and leads to brain drain in our country. That encourages or discourages our own children to know that they are part of the system and they should be accorded based on their output, not because of their ethnicity. We have a moral responsibility to undertake, to which we have to look at the aspect of how we can be able to change the narrative. And that has to be what? The total paradigm shift from what we have been practicing and looking at where we are heading. And when I say so, I have always encouraged myself that in our country, we don't only need presidents in politics. We need generational thinkers. And when I say we need generational thinkers, what does that encapsulate? It requires a visionarist. Second, it requires a transformation individual. Third, selflessness. You need a leader that has that vision to take the country to the next level, to make sure that we unite this country, that the unity of this country is most paramount. Looking at the population density of Sierra Leone and looking at what we have in our country, the dichotomy of it will be misplaced if we don't look at the actuality of a true visionalist to see or envisage what Sierra Leone should have. In our transformation tendency, we are not only looking at the tangibles we're talking about, also looking at the intangibles. The psychological aspect of it, looking at what we've gone through as a post-conflict country and what we can encourage. Seeing you all in this hall today, making effort to enrich your knowledge, considering our students or children yesterday, so to speak. During the war, they were not opportunity to continue their education. They have been plagued on the streets of Sierra Leone with a new epidemic called push. But for your enthusiasm, your impetus to excel in society, that leadership has to be transformative to support your agenda. Looking at our country in the various aspects of development, the growth sectors of the economy, is very important. We can have all of that, but may God Almighty help us to have selfless leadership so that it is not an issue of winner takes it all. We have to look at it that we are all Sierra Leoneans. Be you coming from the east, the west, the south, or the north. But we are all Sierra Leoneans, and what are the things we can do to be able to change the narrative, that we can be able to do our bits and pieces together, putting all of those together to be able to change the narrative of our country. We see the challenges that have been made so far under the issues of tribalism or regionalism. So it is very important that today we look at issues that we can implement to be able to change our country. What is wrong if we try to reinstitute civic education so that our children can be able to know exactly what it takes to move from where we are today, knowing the history of our country? I see it, and I feel that the issue of tribalism, the ugly head of tribalism, we need to nip it right from the ball. What is wrong if we institute a system where we teach our basic major tribes in schools so that no more in man no go talk words and man. Neither will a fuller speak against a Creole. We all be able to understand each other and communicate, because proper communication enhances the society. What is wrong? Should we decide as leaders of this country, under the educational sector, to do a raffle system when a child is taking the Becker exam? They don't determine where school you go to. Are we able to learn some of the basic languages in this country? If you take an exam in Bomali, you cannot determine the school you go to in the south. So that we have coexistence among ourselves, right from educational level, school level, and we start to interact with each other. An example I will cite to you: the Bo School, Maruka Secondary School, Matura. In the days of our colonial masters, they made sure children came from various parts of the country and took them to those schools, placing them in those areas. And you are my witness that today you can find the Camaras and the Kurumas and the Sises in the south who profess to be Mendes or whatever. But how many of that is enough to have the Masakois and others? So it is very important that we also look at that, so that we have that cultural diversity that has enriched our country, to which we are renowned for. Looking at the 18 different tribes or ethnic tribes of this country, bringing different diversities in culture, yet we are not able to inculcate the habit of putting nation above self. we have a moral responsibility. And we need to look at it as a people of this great nation. That no matter what are the circumstances we are looking at, we also look into issues that can be able to enhance the future of this nation. What is wrong? Should we have our traditional leaders coming together under the organization that they have now, Council of Paramount Chiefs, and speak truth to each other, so that they can be able to mitigate the indifferences that exist among us? What is wrong? Should the leadership of this country, I'm talking about the executive, president and past, they should meet at least once every 6 months or once every year and discuss the affairs of state, thereby de-escalating the political tension among ourselves. What is wrong with those reservoir of knowledge, of experience, of taxpayers' money being spent on us that we can give back to our community and society, and to show to the people of Sierra Leone and the world at large that we can tolerate ourselves in religious tolerance? There is no reason why we should not tolerate each other on political tolerance. It's the genesis of what we should do. And that beginning should show to us and tell all of us that being in academia is not only going to read and pass your exams, but also what you can give back to society. Not only for people like me coming to talk to you, or other motivational speakers speaking to you, but when you leave here today, that it doesn't matter that because X, Y, or Z personality belongs to another ethnic group or belongs to another political party, that you should not relate with them. This is fact. It's fact. It's happening in our society, in our country. So be encouraged that not only reading and studying and passing exams, but how you're going to translate that knowledge to improve or contribute to the socio-economic development of our country. Therefore, students, members of the administration, I want to say today, on a simple term, that we need to reset our nation, Sierra Leone. Let us reset our nation, wherein the ugly head of tribalism will be buried forever. Let us reset our nation, that the ugly head of regionalism will be buried forever. Once we do that, we will be able to give due where it belongs, to make sure that meritocracy prevails under Udayisa. Therefore, fellow citizens, I bring you the message of the bridge. The message of the bridge, that from henceforth we shall work together and move away from our past and be more productive and patriotic Sierra Leoneans to be able to transform our country. Let us cross the bridge that yesterday's us can be utilized as a stepping stone for the transformation of our country. Let us use that bridge that today we can become visionaries for our country and our little communities or as a nation and whole. And let us cross that bridge to know that egocentrism cannot take us where we want to go. But collective responsibility and hands in head as the people of Sierra Leone, having so much yet having nothing. I don't understand the arithmetic. We have so much, yes, we have nothing. And should we decide to cross that bridge and work together, the sky will be our limit. And once more, the laurels of Sierra Leone that was once known when you spoke about the Forbes College University as the first university in Africa, in West Africa, in Southern Africa, so to speak. When you talk about the first radio station, the first court of appeal in West Africa, and today we are being played to stand competing from the bottom. It is only when we decide as a nation that enough of this odds of society, the isms, whether it is favoritism, whether it is nepotism, etc., but one that we can look at and give merit where it deserves, and looking at the bigger picture as a nation in our transformation tendencies for a better Sierra Leone. Students, ladies and gentlemen, I say but so much, and I say to you all, the future is bright, for I see a light in the north corner for us all to say that we were part of the city ready, patting each other's back and say, I am proud to be a Sierra Leone. Thank you so much.